Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. 48 minutes later than build, but we are finally live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. This is Ice Cream. We bring you the scoop, our daily daily dose of news, even. A deuce of news from the games industry and beyond. My name is Graham Day, and this man in the box right here who's been sat waiting patiently for the best part of an hour is the man that we call Baby.
Good morning.
How's things, babe?
Yeah, good, man. Just need to look after my ass a little bit now. Starting to get a bit sore, but yeah. You know what I mean?
No comment.
No comment.
I'll let you
No
figure what
comment.
that means out by yourselves. So yes, we should have been live at 10 a.m. We weren't, purely because I was chatting to Babe, and obviously when we have Babe in this box here, that's through Discord video call. I dial him in. He's in the studio. I'm at my home studio. We run the conversation. Jez Corden. However, Steam decided that despite killing the program, it wanted to absolutely eat up all of my bandwidth. So I've got about 80 megs, and Steam kind of decided that he wanted to eat about 80 to 90% of that connection, so I wouldn't have had enough. That's probably what's been happening the last few weeks. Anyone that's been tuning into our Wednesday and Thursday streams, we've had a bit of like robotic bib. I assume that that's probably what it is. Anyway, after ripping apart all the hardware on my network, the worst thing was, I'll give you a bit of backstory. I added an Ethernet splitter so that Chloe has quite poor internet connection in her room and she wants to play some Fortnite. So I thought, well, I'll get a splitter in so she can have a power line adapter, so she's effectively got a hardwired connection in her room. Installed that yesterday, everything seemed fine. Everything wasn't fine this morning, so I assumed it was that. So I've ripped all that out and I've still only had 1 meg connection. Anyway, it wasn't that all. It was purely Steam leaving me with 1 meg. So cheers, Steam! I'm going to have to put all that back in shortly. But there we go. Anyway, so let's jump into things. This is Ice Cream, that's the name of the channel, and in true Ice Cream fashion, we bring you the scoop. Obviously, I've said our daily dose, where I clearly meant the daily dose of news from the games industry and beyond. We go live at 10 a.m. every single weekday, apart from the weekdays when we don't go live at 10 a.m. like today. Ta-da! We go live twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. We obviously bring you a live, interactive. I don't know, well, we need a sexy word. We'll bring you the news live and interactive. Let's just leave it as that for now. If you're in the chat, you get to talk with us. You get to give us your thoughts on our thoughts about the news at large in the games industry on any given day. We then turn that into a standalone on-demand video podcast, which we upload to YouTube around an hour after we go off the air. And then a little bit later on in the day, we have 4 audio podcasts to iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and SoundCloud. All of those get our voices prominently displayed, and you know what, there may be other podcasts on SoundCloud and wherever, but yeah, you know, nobody really listens to those. I'm sorry, guys. The scoop is available across all those. You will find the links to those on our social media a little bit later on in the day. Anyway, I was just going to jump into our teeing up our first news. Scenes are a bit late, but one thing I do want to jump on is we have people in the chat, which is important because everyone that's in the chat, you guys are the only guys that get to have the opportunity to have a discussion with us. The guys that get the benefits of having on-demand audio and video podcasts don't get to communicate, but the people that do so very well. As we can see, Fatman Dave says, listen to the scoop whilst you poop. That should be the tagline. For absolutely, 100%. David is now head of marketing for Ice Cream Uploads, so cheers, David. Thank you. Network issues. Oh no, that's me. I'm literally reading out my own comments. Well done, Graham. That's how Twitch chat works. I've been sat waiting patiently here. I say patiently. I started throwing things. I waited so long, my ice cream melted. No. Just wanted to let you know my Twitter's been suspended. I haven't blocked anyone. Russian hackers. Not even joking. Oh my god, seriously.
Oh shit.
What?
Oh god.
Baby, I told you to not make it obvious that you were Russian. I gave you 1 time to do this. Cousin, let's go bowling. Shout out to phone's buzzing.
CFO crew.
Yeah. Anyway, let's jump into the news. So we bring you our selection of topics from across the games industry each and every single weekday, and that's what we are doing now. And we have quite a big story to lead on. Let me just jump straight in. It's a good job I didn't click straight over then, because that would have just been my face on the stream dashboard. It'd be like, hi! So you'd have gone from me to me in low res. Okay, first news item of the day, pretty tasty as you will see. There we go. Xbox just basically just buried Google Stadia with the latest Project xCloud update, and this is an article written by Jez Corden at Windows Central. So scrolling down through this, and I had a quick scan over this article, and it does seem pretty tasty. Bibby sent it over to me last night when I discovered it, and I was like, oof. So with one single library update, Microsoft just ripped Google Stadia of one of its only reasons to exist. Today, without any fanfare or warning, Microsoft included Destiny 2 to its Project xCloud game streaming library at no extra cost, complete with synchronicity for those of us who've been playing on Xbox or using save syncing. Here are the games Microsoft added just today alongside the rest of the full library. Halo Master Chief Collection, Destiny 2, Sid Meier's Civilization 4, 6 even, Batman The Enemy Within, the complete season, episodes 1 to 5, Batman the Telltale series, The Wolf Among Us, Wasteland, The Surge, and more games. But Destiny 2 remains an incredibly popular game, and is practically the only service-type game with perpetual updates that might, in italics there, have justified keeping Google Stadia around. But now, why bother? On Project xCloud, not only do you get to play online, on the go, wherever you are on any Android device, but you also get to seamlessly sync your save file to an offline version of the game running on your Xbox console devices, whether it's the S, the X, or Series X later this year. All of this while ignoring the vast amount of superior games Project xCloud already offers, despite being in preview. Therein lies the only kicker, really. Google Stadia is actually released, a product you can buy in stores, although you can't argue that it's although you could argue that it's effectively just a paid-for preview, since the library sucks and it's missing tons of basic features, having only recently got some of its previously advertised functionality like achievement support. Project xCloud is still limited only to the US and UK, and even then, you need to be lucky enough to grab a spot in its preview program. Microsoft seems to be taking a soft approach to the rollout of xCloud, having only just expanded its home console streaming function to more markets. Google Stadia has far wider availability, despite all of its downsides. Still, despite the availability, Xbox's obvious advantages are beginning to mount up against Google. The superior relationships with developers, the promise of offline versions through home consoles and Windows PC, all with seamless syncing across all of your devices. Microsoft also just announced that xCloud is already seeing positive results in Eastern markets, with South Korean gamers spending almost double the amount of hours streaming games than Westerners. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I will finish the article then. Okay, I think it's getting a bit long here, but anyway, let's continue. Google isn't down for the count yet, though. The firm announced it will be adding more than 100 games throughout 2020, complete with timed exclusives. Google has piles of cash to spend on competing in this nascent market, whether it's purchasing third-party exclusivity deals a la Epic Games, or simply buying up studios in their entirety. One thing is for certain, though, Microsoft's established presence in the industry is going to help a ton when it comes to this new market. When you envisage a world where the technology powering these experiences is practically equal, Google is going to quite seriously have to Google is going to quite seriously have its work cut out if it wants to stand even the vaguest chance of Stadia being anything more than another product on Google's scrap heap. Whew. So yeah, long article, but very, very interesting. So I've just put the
killer blows all over the place.
Exactly. The discussing now slate, which is on screen, says xCloud update kills Stadia, and that's as blunt as it is. I didn't expect Destiny to be included. Not that Stadia had anything exclusive with it, but I didn't expect Destiny to be included. And purely I thought that would have been not necessarily exclusivity, but kind of inferred exclusivity. What time do you call this? We just wanted to test. We wanted to test how serious Team No Sleep is, because we thought, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning usually when we're chatting to you. I wanted to see if you'd be around at 5 o'clock in the morning, and there you go. So Team No Sleep is serious, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Drops the emote in chat. So yeah, I not that they have exclusivity, but I seriously thought off the record exclusivity. I would have assumed Google would be like, okay, let's just keep making our stuff sweet. Let's keep it to us. So throwing money at is it just Bungie now that owns Destiny?
Yes, they split from was it Activision? I'm sure they parted ways with Activision, so it's just literally Bungie doing whatever the shit they want now.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought they'd have been just like throwing wedges of money at Bungie to keep it that way, because obviously we spoke about it pre-Christmas, I think it was. There was a news article from a journalist who essentially said he was going home for the holidays and he found that Stadia was really good in terms of, not for online competitive gameplay, but for the grind elements, being able to keep up with stuff, do a little the chory maintenance stuff. That's really good. But having that on a console that you've been playing the game on for a year already, you've gone through all the expansions and so on, you can get all of your achievements and challenges, which obviously you can now get on Stadia finally. But it just makes absolute sense to have it on xCloud, because if you're in that ecosystem already, to quote Scream, bam, bitch went down. Yeah, exactly. It's a blow and a half, particularly when the fact that you can play it across any Android device. You don't need to have a dongle that you plug into your TV that's gonna suddenly feel like you've just installed a gas fire behind there, because the amount of heat that kicks off. It's not the greatest news from Stadia, especially when, well, to be fair to Stadia, Google had kind of just announced, what was it, 100 games, 10 exclusives, or 120 games, 10 exclusives, 20 exclusives, whatever it was. So they'd kind of started with good messaging. Obviously, past...
was it good messaging? Or was it just... there was all just... To me, there were just shots in the dark. It was all like, we'll promise you absolutely everything and absolutely deliver you nothing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going to extend. The past examples show that they can't really be trusted in that sense, because the last time they kind of said that they were going to do loads of stuff that was coming in the year forward, we never got any of it. It was like, oh yeah, biggest super high-tech speedy thing with all of the games, and the only game that they were going to have that was kind of time relevant. I mean, I'm just going to bypass Guild, which is probably a little bit shitty, but I don't know anything about it, and it's not my kind of game. What would have been my kind of...
Have you heard anything?
No, not really, no. But what would have been my kind of game was Doom, and that was the only game that they would have had any sort of like relevance in terms of Red Dead Redemption already out. Any other game they have already out. Doom was supposed to be there at the launch. Obviously, that's been delayed. So yeah, that kind of hurt them from my perspective, but that ties in everything they promised in that first conference. I remember sat there like 5-6 o'clock UK time, whatever it was, watching this conference thinking, this sounds the shit. Hardly any of that's come to fruition, or not in the sort of classy way that they've said it. So if they're promising 100 games and all these updates and stuff across the year, okay, well, people have I've been burned once. I will see it. No, I will believe it when I see it, so to speak. Funniest thing happened earlier was sat there playing FIFA, screaming at the screen. All of a sudden, there's a massive shake. I thought my missus got pissed and came to put me up. Look around, room's empty. It was an earthquake. Damn! I saw tweets about the earthquake earlier on. I'm assuming, because you're full-on team no sleeping, that everything's good, nothing damaged. You're all good. Your consoles are fine. That's the main question. Is the game set up
Obviously.
Fine?
Yeah,
we were fine. A small one. Well, 3.7. Not sure if that's small. I'm not an expert. Yeah, it's. Do you know? I think 3.7 is a little bit bigger than 3.6, but not quite as big as 3.8. I mean, I'm not 100%, but I think we can take that with expert over here. But yeah, I mean, Bib, we have
great
Xbox One X in the studio. We have Google Stadia Founders Edition in the studio. Well, not in the studio, because what's the point? It doesn't do anything. But we have it there, should we want it in the studio. If you were to play Destiny 2, what would you play on? If you were playing it on the go, so say if you were gonna... I mean, it's kind of not a question I can answer, because I have an iPhone. It doesn't matter if it's on all Android devices. It's kind of irrelevant to me for the time being, at least, anyway. But if you were going to play Destiny out and about, what would you play it on?
Well, Graham, funnily enough, as a person who's adopted Xbox xCloud, I can comfortably say that if I was to play Destiny 2 using the beautiful beta code that I got given by Xbox, thank you very much, guys, I can comfortably play this game wherever I feel like playing it on my lovely Huawei phone that can play xCloud.
Huawei.
So yeah, I mean, if I had the opportunity, which I do, and I have used it, I haven't loaded up Destiny yet because I only sent you the article last night, but I sent a screenshot of to you yesterday. of what is currently on offer on xCloud. Where is it? I'm just scrolling through my messages. Blah blah blah. Couple of United kits. Here we go. So I sent a screenshot yesterday to you of what's available in the store at the moment. And DayZ, Dead by Daylight, Dead Island, and Destiny 2. I can play them on my phone wherever I want via xCloud without having to pay a penny because I'm in the beta process or whatever it is that they're rolling out. They give me a key to be able to play it. So I can play these 4 games as well as a million others only because it's alphabetical at the showing like this.
I was going to say, I mean,
the opportunity to play
the
these.
fact that they all begin with D kind of shows you that yeah, that's a very, very small segment from like DayZ to Dead by Daylight or whatever, which is only DA to DE. That's not even all of the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you got the Dead Island Definitive Edition, Dead by Daylight Special Edition, DayZ the Full Edition, and Destiny 2. I've got those 4 games as well as like another 40 to 50 games available in the palm of my hand to play wherever I want using a proper controller. It's a hands down winner. Do you know what I mean? There's not much else. Like Google won't be able to compete with that. Like I can't play this xCloud. Fair enough. I can't play xCloud on my PC yet. So if I was to take my laptop to a conference, if we was going wherever tomorrow, I'd just be able to use my phone and I couldn't plug it into my laptop like you can. You can't play in the browser like you can with Google Stadia. Google Stadia has a lot of pros, but they also have even more cons that supersede the pros, unfortunately.
Yeah,
As it stands right now, I feel that we're always putting the boot in, but rightfully so, because it's a product that doesn't work as it should do. I mean, it works for a lot of people, but for what I would personally use it for, it's not kind of up to scratch yet. xCloud offer a much better service for free at the moment. It's a beta. They've advertised it as a beta, so I'm going in with an open mind. I know what I'm kind of getting. I know what to expect. But even with what I expect, it's still a much, much, much better service.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, so we know that xCloud has better marketing. Thank you, Chris Boig. I hope I'm pronouncing that. Thank you very much for the follow. I hope that when you say the name, usually it doesn't go up at the end as well.
I think it's Chris Boy G28.
Yeah, boy. So we know Stadia is behind in terms of marketing. They went full release and it was shit. xCloud is ahead in terms of marketing. They said, okay, it's only beta access, and they keep adding more games and more functions, and it keeps getting better. Number 1 Pirate, thank you very much for the host. So obviously, xCloud has better messaging. xCloud has better functions and hardware because it's built on top of the existing Xbox service. So what would you say Stadia needs to do then? Okay, we know that they can give you games on the go in the palm of your hand using a dongle or a mobile or whatever, but you can get that on xCloud. What do we need from Stadia to see? Well, not Stadia. So what do we need to see from Stadia to see them kind of like get back on the front foot then?
It's a very good question because I don't really know how their whole infrastructure and everything works. I just know at the moment as a consumer what they have potentially advertised to us, we're technically not getting yet. I need to be fair, I need to do more testing with it. We've got 2 of them in the office. I've only played 1 and I haven't played it since Christmas. So my what are we in now? The 22nd. So I haven't played it for over nearly a month at this point because we finished on the 20th of December last year. So I could do with a refresher. Again, we've said it a million times. This is the future of video games. We're going to be able to stream these games wherever we want. We're going to have a library of games wherever we want. Also, sorry, I've just got this like hiccupy burp thing coming up.
Lovely.
There we go, sorted. It's passed. With the Xbox Game Cloud as it stands right now, I haven't had to pay for any of this. It's all the beta stuff. I've got 1,000,001 games to be able to play wherever I go. Whereas Google Stadia at the moment, you have a very small amount of games that you're able to play. They have obviously the Game Pass kind of thing where they'll, not the Game Pass, like the games with gold where they'll give you 2 new games a month. They're constantly adding to the collection of games. We've got over 100 games coming out this year for Google Stadia, as well as 10 exclusives. So we've got a lot to look forward to in terms of what we're going to be able to play, but it's how we're going to be able to play them. I was banging to Destiny before Christmas. We talked about it quite a lot for at least 2 months. I was playing it solid. I was banging to it. I was trying to play it on my desk upstairs. I ended up been in the Stadia version, just downloading it on my PlayStation, so I could actually play the game. I could do the small things like grinding small missions. Obviously, I'm not into raid character yet, so I can't actually do any of that stuff. But just a small amount of grinding that I was able to do, it just didn't seem flush as it whatever. Because I've been playing on my PC. My PC is obviously way better than my PlayStation is. So I've been playing on a really good PC with a really good internet connection at home, and at the moment, I'm not experiencing any of that. If you're playing at top specs and then you promise top specs on a console that just requires streaming, and I'm not getting that, unfortunately, you're advertising shit, mate, because it doesn't compete with anything that what I'm currently experiencing on a native console.
I mean, let's compare that to kind of different game, but Fortnite. We sat there, we played Fortnite, squads in the office, 3 of us on consoles, in terms of like, not a shit word in, 3 of us on PlayStations, you were there on your Switch. Yours looked visually inferior, but that wasn't an issue because never have they said, this is a full 2080 Ti RTX PC with blah, 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 blah. It's a game that plays 720, 1080 into... jump from one style to the other. You can play on the go, you can play in a dock or whatever. So you can okay, I lose a bit of visual fidelity, but I know that, I expect that, I'm happy with that because I've bought in for the portability, the fact that I can take my account from home and bring it into the office and stuff like that. Whereas if they had said, oh, actually, do you know what, it's going to be absolutely nailed on, it'll be just like playing mouse and keyboard on PC, then you'd be like, what the fuck is this? It's that expectation versus reality kind of thing. One thing I did want to jump back on, didn't realise this. You guys ever seen Shadowplay? Asks Phantom in the chat. Yes, we use it like whenever we do events and stuff. PC, we use it for capturing and stuff like that. But I did not realise. I've never used it to. I mean, literally just used it for capturing. Did not know this. I used to work with them guys, and their software is neat. Full PC control from your phone. You can seamlessly transition from device to device and continue. Like mid game, need a poop, and flick to your iPad or iPhone or whatever device and keep playing. It's nuts. All the technology for stream games is fine for single player games, but multiplayer depending on what game. I can't. Yeah. So, Shadowplay, you can set what spec you want the machine. What the fuck? I had no idea. Did not realise Shadowplay. I'm gonna have to. Where's my notepad? I'm gonna have to Google that. Get some more notes. I didn't realise because obviously I have Shadowplay installed on my PC. Did not know that was a thing. Lovely. Where's your commission code? Not on video. Okay.
I've just seen Enix's comment as well. Someone registered the Xbox One prototype on their Microsoft account to check the leaks of the console were real, and it worked. Someone registered the Xbox One prototype on their account. I don't get that.
As in, like, the leaked prototype, did it have sort of like serial numbers or stuff? Is that what you mean? So, and they've used the
Oh, right, okay. Now I get it.
I saw a leak today from Miguel from Elgato. As in Miguel Lazada.
Yeah, it was showing the back of the console, so it's showing like the ports and things like that.
Oh yeah. Prototype up sale.
it was registered the Xbox One X prototype. I was like, what? Are we in 2013 again? Have I fucking woke up in a different decade?
As if that they clearly are. They can't be Miguel's pictures. There's no way they're gonna be his pictures. If they are, he's gonna be. Where's it? Has he got it in his comments or something?
Oh, I know what Connor's absolutely losing his head here, and I know why. I know why. He wants this shadow play so bad so he can play teamfight tactics wherever he goes. I know. I know exactly why. He's shadow play. He's like, oh shit! He's heard it in the hemisphere. He wasn't even in the chat before, and now you heard shadow play. He's like, oh shit! What? I can play teamfight tactics on the shitter.
I'm intrigued. I'm gonna have to hit Miguel up and ask him if they're his pictures or not. Interesting.
He's not going to confirm it though, is he? Because he knows he's going to get an absolute bollocking if he does.
There's no way that they could
be going into hiding.
The fact that someone's like registered that Xbox console though, fair play. Whoever's done that. Game Reaper 187. Now let's look. I'll click through this link, see what it is. Please don't mind me. But it's just Oh yeah, please don't ban me. so I'll bring this tweet up on screen. This is a tweet that Enix just linked in the chat. Where's my Chrome? There it is. So this is so yeah, the images weren't posted originally by Miguel. They were posted a couple of hours earlier by Doug from Xbox Series X. And Game Reaper 187 in response to that tweet has said, "Please don't ban me," tagging in Phil Spencer and Aaron Greenberg. But I registered that serial number to my account just messing around. I have removed it after it actually worked. Just imagine someone trying to fucking register their prototype now and going, "What? It says it's already been used." Well, you know,
you're furious, wouldn't you?
You shouldn't have taken those pictures and put them in the internet, you silly sausage. The worst thing is, for whoever's taken those pictures, those serial numbers and product numbers should have tracking in terms of Microsoft should be able to see who that's gone to. So you gonna get done slapped.
Absolutely.
I'll click the link. So there we go. I've just had a link to the plans for the Shadowplay from Fun. There you go. That's the details for it on screen. Anyway, let's move for. Clicking things. Get off my screen. There we go. Go. So yeah, if you got yourself a brand new console, babe, would you a console that you're not supposed to have, or the world is not supposed to? Yeah, you've been given it in secret. You've passed the images. Let's say you've not even posted them yourself, but you passed them on to a friend. Would you send your serial number and stuff like that? It just sounds like an absolute no-brainer.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if someone was to give me something in private, of course I'm going to post it on Twitter to try and get as much clout as possible. Do you know what I mean? The risk-reward of getting clout is much, much better than potentially, you know, keeping my job and being still in the industry. And until at least next year, you know what I mean? Getting into the games industry is so easy nowadays that it's definitely worth posting tweets of potential consoles that you've been given in secret. It's definitely worth it. And I feel like at this very moment in time, I am padding.
You are absolutely world-class padding. Loved it.
Yeah, we go.
Loved it. Loved it. And the reason you're padding is because I'm just about to jump into the next article, which you will be able to see on screen, because Baby padded expertly, so we could jump into this article written by James Billcliffe, who I don't think we've featured yet, but we feature VG 24/7 on the Scoop pretty often. But welcome, James. You have made it. The world of the Scoop is aware of your existence. You may ring mum, ring dad. Do you know, to get the family? Do you know what? Do you know when you go to a football match, you've smashed the team, you get like the what I can't remember what they call it. What do they? Oh my god, brain fart. When you get the lines of people and you get, obviously you walk through them, high fives as you go through. What the fuck do they call that? Guard of Honour. That's the one. Guard of Honour. So yeah, you get all the family back home, stood there, Guard of Honour. Like, do you know what? James, I mean, we thought you weren't going to make it in life. I mean, yeah, you can write a few pretty words and stuff, but have you been on the Scoop? Nana says all the time as she's sat there watching Bib. Hello in from the back of the room on her iPad. She's proper Twitch sub as well, by the way. Cheers, Nana. And now you've made it. Anyway. Back in the room, Graham. Blue screen over. Figured out what I'm on about with.
Control or delete.
I
read Phantom's comment. I'm creasing it. I'm in bits.
Can you remember when Xbox sent us all Xbox Ones? They had like 10 games with it and spam tweeted out a photo and had all the cold.
Oh, that's a PR nightmare. Straight away, innit? Look at all my games. Here's all the codes.
Unlucky! Best thing I've ever seen, he says. Anyway, back to the news. We were crunching pretty hard most of last year. That's the title, which then goes on to continue to say, Marty Stratton unapologetic over Doom Eternal's delay. So Doom Eternal wouldn't be the same game without it being delayed, according to executive producer Marty Stratton. Speaking to VG 24/7, Stratton explained that the team at id Software were working long hours in the lead up to the delay, and that pushing Doom Eternal back has let the team get the game up to the level of quality that they feel their effort deserves. I say it's the best game we've ever made. I don't think I'd say that if we didn't have that extra time, Stratton said. The game was done. We haven't added anything. But what the delay allowed us to do was fix a ton more bugs. It allowed us to do a lot of polishing, hardening on the back end systems, and we do testing throughout where we bring in people externally. We did a couple of additional versions of those and made a couple of additions to the game, just balance type things and patching up a couple of exploits. Developer crunch has been a big discussion topic over the last couple of years, with heavy criticism aimed at many AAA developers for fostering cultures of expected overtime at the expense of staff well-being. Stratton said that while the id Studio leadership tried to encourage developers to take the time they need, many choose to work late and some amount of crunch is necessary. We were crunching pretty hard most of last year. It goes in phases, Stratton explained. We'll have one group of people crunching so that the next group of people are teed up properly. As they get done, they may need to crunch a little bit. We really truly do try and be respectful of people's time and lives. We are very dedicated people that choose to work, that just choose to work a lot in many cases. It was nice because we want the game to be perfect. We want to live up to our expectations and consumer expectations. He went on to say, we work very hard and we'll put in extra time to do that. Sometimes when we just get the extra time, we do it anyways because we want it to be that much better. A delay takes a little bit of the steam and pressure out, but it's almost one of those things where we'll push even harder to get it even more, just as tight as it possibly can be. Like its predecessor, Doom Eternal has also come to the Switch. However, when the rest of the versions were delayed, the Switch port was postponed to an unspecified date. While there's still no firm release window, Stratton hinted that we might see it sooner rather than later. We're not talking about the launch date, so I can't specify, but it's not ridiculously far behind ETs. We're working hard on it. Panic Button is working hard on it, and I don't think people will be too disappointed. So, kind of unsurprisingly, a huge game in the games industry has crunch. My title edge is well overlapping there. I need to fix that. Doom. Devs crunched. Okay, let's just stop it at that so it fits in the box. Boom. See, I'm kind of, I find it struggling to get the words. We spoke about it in the chat the other day. Like Asim was in the chat as well. I remember responding to one of Asim's comments that as soon as you mention that you've crunched or you have to crunch or there was an element of crunch involved, you instantly get hate, you instantly get criticism, and CD Projekt Red were getting the same sort of criticism when they said the same thing about Cyberpunk 2077, because the phrase I used is it's a red rag to a bull. A lot of people in the industry are like, no, it's bad, it shouldn't be allowed, it's bad for people's health, and it's stuff like that. And it's nice that people are there, that people want to jump and stand up for these devs and stuff like that. But I always think that stuff like that should be taken, not necessarily with a pinch, but with the necessary consideration. Because what Stratton says within this article was that yes, they have crunched, but yes, they took into consideration their employees. They didn't force them to overwork. A lot of them voluntarily overwork as well, because as we all have done, if we have something that we're working on, that we're proud of, that we want to be amazing, you will go above and beyond to make sure it is that. And if that's what it is, then there's no issue with that. If people are taking pride in a project that they are delivering as a family, a work family, then there's nothing wrong with going above and beyond. If you're being forced to, and it's taking away, you're missing your child's first steps, you're missing this, you're missing that, you're not there, you're tired, you're exhausted, you feel like you're under pressure to deliver, then that's a bit different. Then that's full-on unhealthy crunch. I just realised the amazing top you got on, Graham. I wanted that one. Yeah, brand new today, first time I want it. Yeah, that element of crunch, I feel they will probably get some stick for this. I'm just going to jump down to the comments. So, kids, what have we learned today? Delay equals more crunch, not less crunch.
Joe, I had... when I was on the way home yesterday and I was listening to a few other podcasts, I had a slight change of heart in how I was going about it. I mentioned that if they are gonna, it's unrealistic for them to be able to pick these timelines out. They should know way in advance that the deadline's going to be changed. There's no way that they're finding out like 2 or 3 months beforehand that the gameplay is going to be changing that much, or they need to add that much polish to it to be able to say, right, okay, it's going to be way further down the line. I think to avoid the crunch, if they're already delaying the game, could they not delay it even further in some cases? Maybe not this year because of even so in this year, if the fact that the PlayStation 5 is going to be coming out and you can play the PS4 games on apparently, same with the Xbox, why can't they delay it an extra 2 months to avoid the crunch rather than having people working, I don't know, 20-hour days and then getting 4 hours sleep to come back in again, or spending that much time in the office rather than having a work-life balance? When the crunch comes to it, why can't they spend a little bit more time on there? This is just the other side of the coin. I mean, I'm still in the camp of, your fucking game's going to be coming out. Sort the timeline out. There's no way that 2 months before on that you need to delay the game. You've got roadmaps. Try and hit each one of those. If you started to miss a certain roadmaps, okay, it's 0.2 out of 10. You know that the third, fourth, and fifth are going to be delayed. Therefore, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are going to be way further down the line. So it should be picked up way sooner than it should be. Again, I'm not a game dev. I'm just assuming at this point. But yeah, it's very strange that they're just saying, right, okay, well, we're going to extend it 2 or 3 months, but you're going to have to work triple the time. You're going to have to work triple the time. Why can't they extend it by 6 months and only work like half the time? Fair enough, if they're doing 8 to 10 hour days, why can't they do like 12 to 13? The answer is budget. So of course, that's the easiest answer. You have to adhere to whoever it is that's funding your game in the first place. But it's very odd. I just think it's very, very odd. Because you don't get this out of actors, do you? You don't tell the actors that they're going to be working 22 hours in a day. We need to get this shot. You're going to continue to get this shot until we get the shot right. I don't think it works like that. Feel free to,
You can get that. You can get different contracts in media. You can get project contracts where you do the necessary hours and they give you an estimated number of hours for that as a guidance, but it could be more. But then you do get some contracts for actors where you get paid by the hour and you get what you get. Which means that if a film needs more shots, and invariably say in a film, if you film the film and then you go to the editing process and you realise, oh shit, we need to shoot that, we didn't have it right, or that this line needs to change, maybe there's something politically sensitive in there now that they need to take out and they have to reshoot it. Most film contracts will have them delivering on a contract and then have set periods where they've got 4 weeks here where they can recall them back for reshoots and edits and so on. So you do kind of get that in film. Obviously, the contractor to deliver the project. If someone breaks their ankle, which someone did do that in a film recently, I'm trying to remember who it was, and that kind of delayed the film. It was one of a headline male star. I can't remember who it was. Anyway, he'd injured himself, so they had to delay the shoot for the film. Everyone kind of got delayed because of this dude. Hurt himself. Stanley Kubrick made the woman in The Shining dude one take over 100 times. Damn. Tom Cruise. Yeah.
You know what? It wouldn't surprise me if it was Tom Cruise.
Guy throws himself out the window. Mate. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, Connor, where was it? To play devil's advocate on this, what if they just want the overtime? See, that's the thing. That's the thing that I always kind of want to take with it, and it's probably a rubbish analogy here, but it's the first one that came to mind, which probably says a lot about me. So let's go back to darts, and they had what they call ring girls in boxing. What were they called in darts? Those women that wear pretty dresses and come out like in front of the darts players. Walkouts. That's it. Walkout girls. And there was a huge thing about removing walkout girls from boxing. Dartboard girls. Which is fine. I can see the logic behind that. However, I remember at the time listening to TalkSport Drive before it finally finished me off and then got rid of it. I have not listened to it for months, but I was listening to it fairly regularly.
Showing your true colours there now, Graham.
No, I mean I don't mind a good TalkSport Drive, but it's just deteriorated to the point where they get to. It's literally the one playing the other, so you get Goffey and Durham or whatever, and then one of them will be good cop, one of them will be bad cop, and it's got to the point where they just kind of go, oh well, I'll be good today, I'll be bad, and it's purely to incite a debate, but I don't like a debate where people are fighting for a side that they don't really believe in, and it's got to the point where like. Sometimes, occasionally, you might get one where you do get contrasting opinions, and it's like, oh, this is good to listen to because you can hear them getting angry. But most of the time, you just think, I can't be arsed. Anyway, these walkout girls were removed from boxing because it was demeaning to them, and they were taken advantage of, and this, that, and the other. But then when it actually came to it, these walkout girls, one of them was she had a doctorate in some sort of like advanced medicine, and it was Be a Walkout Girl, where she got treated really well. Actually, she got given thousands of pounds worth of dresses that she got to keep, and all this, that, and the other. I mean, obviously, everyone will have different opinions on this, so don't want to make this the main talking point. But like, she'd essentially had her decision made for her to protect her, and she's like, well, I've now actually got to go and get a job working in Boots, Marks and Spencer's, whatever, because I need to pay for my doctorate. I need to keep myself supported while I'm doing this. But the money that I was getting from working in boxing is going to be 10 times what it was. So actually, to protect me, you've made my life worse. So which then, forgetting all of the intricacies of that and moving that into this, is like, using Connor's comment about overtime, is like pushing back on that crunch. Is that taking potential earnings away from families? Yes, it's horrible when they have no choice, but what if it's not that? And I think that's what we kind of need to get down to. So let's mute my email stuff because it's giving me alerts. What we have to take into consideration is that all right, and Stratton said that there has been crunch. Stratton said that they have worked long hours. They've worked long hours to set up the next team and stuff like that. But
these people will be on a salary. Surely they're not getting paid by the hour. I can understand it if it's people who've had to come in like as a third party, but these people surely will be getting a yearly wage, like a proper salary. So you meet these expectations, or you carry on until it's done.
Ish. Jumping into comments, because I can see there's a couple of long ones. So, sales focus and a whole host of other things, marketing costs, etc., taken into consideration, setting a date, and then even when delaying it. To eliminate crunch would be great by extending delays, but have to balance that with giving the game the best chance to sell as many copies. Timing. Also, most of the time, developers don't get overtime. They're on set contracts, which overtime is included. Not great, but that's another discussion around unionization of game developers. And that's the thing. I mean, if developers are locked into, you just have to deliver on this contract, and they want to put in the extra time from a passion perspective. This is a passion project. I don't get overtime for it, but I don't mind staying an extra hour or two to make sure that we finish this. That's different from, okay, you are doing 12 hours today, 12 hours tomorrow, 12 hours tomorrow after that. But that's the way, when it comes into consideration. Obviously, different devs have different contracts. So if some of them are doing it for benefits of overtime, things like that, that's lovely. If people are just doing it because they have to, because of poor management, because of poor scheduling, and purely because of sales forecasts, so that is when it's bad, because of that sales forecasting. If it's all based on sales forecasts, then you are literally slave. That's when it becomes into the slave labor, and that's where that's where the negativity comes out of it. It's not always that, and that's the thing, is taking that into consideration. If you are making people work and sacrificing their health, be that mental or physical, in chasing profits, then that's not necessarily the nicest thing. Well, it's not necessarily. It's a shit thing. Let's put it that way. Simply put. But we're on a yearly salary and I can still get extra pay for overtime. Surely just the same as that for Bibby's comment. James.
Yeah, but like in my old job, the salary was the salary you'd stay until the job was done. If we was having a website going live, you'd stay until 10 o'clock at night. You won't get paid extra from that. I used to finish at 4:30, but I'd have to stay for 7 or 8 hours after that until the job was done. Do you know what I mean? I didn't get paid any overtime or anything. It is what it is. It's your yearly salary. You get paid that salary to ensure that every one of your deadlines throughout the year has been made, regardless of how long it takes you. If I have to go in on a Saturday, then I'll have to go in on a Saturday. Obviously, every business is different.
I say fuck that to that, says Connor in the comments. I agree.
That's weird.
Which is, I mean, Bibby doesn't have to worry about that now because we just don't pay him. He gets no
absolutely. This is all a
overtime
passion project for me.
He says, crying. but he gets a nice T-shirt. He does. I mean, that's what he did get. He doesn't get paid. He doesn't get to see his wife, but what he does get is to walk around with a sexy Ice Cream Uploads jersey, which you can get by typing !merch in the twat.
Yeah, you can. They also come in size fat.
I meant to say Twitch chat, but squashed it to twat. That's yesterday's comments of Twat Waffle talking about the DDoS attackers.
But honestly, it's not uncommon, Connor, to be in places where you get a yearly salary. It's not like I don't know how many other industries that you've worked in the one of the big ones I've worked in. in educational retail.
Oh, it's not uncommon at all. My former life, I was working. Type it in the twat. just burst out laughing. You're welcome. It's all part of the service. Yeah, my last job, my former life, was digital marketing in the home improvement industry, and same thing there, delivering websites, delivering full marketable projects, and it was okay. We have to deliver this project. If we don't deliver this project, then we are failing on our we are defaulting on our contracts, which harms the whole business. Which meant that I would quite often we'd do like pizza parties. We'd order some Domino's pizzas in, and we'd just work till fucking silly o'clock at night or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, because obviously naturally your quality of work, and when we were doing things like anywhere from briefing designers on assets and stuff that we wanted, or writing placeholder copy to be featured on a website or something like that, it gets worse. So you copy, there's typos, there's spelling, everything just takes a bit longer, and it's not the most productive way of working, but we used to do that. What we didn't get paid overtime, but what we did get was like recognition in bonuses and things like that. Obviously it didn't work out as pound for pound kind of stuff, but
yeah. Well, that's it. Obviously, me and you, formerly, I've worked in very similar types of instances. I was a digital marketer. I had to build websites. I had to brief marketing departments. We had to get shit made. And if there was a website going live, or there's a changeover of the server or something like that, we'd literally have to stay until it's done. That was our job. If we're not fulfilling our job, then the business doesn't go anywhere. You've got deadlines. You've got whatever to meet. It's done until it's done. But it's like I say, it's very common to be in places like that. It depended on the job. Like if you was in a call center, the call center would finish at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. There's no way you're staying behind after that, because what do? The phones aren't ringing, the phone lines aren't open. If you was to do overtime where you'd have to do data entry or whatever, then yeah, of course you'd get an hourly rate after that. But in certain roles, or shall we say, it's done when it's done. Do you know what I mean? You have to get it done.
I mean, one thing, just jumping back to the wording in the article, the title that VG247 went with, which I always hate when you see stuff like this. Their wording was, "We were crunching pretty hard most of last year, Marty Stratton, unapologetic over Doom Eternal's delay." Like, you read the article and it's not what the title suggests. The title's basically saying, yeah, we did fuck tons and I don't give a shit, because we crunched pretty hard and he's unapologetic. That's kind of that is what they're saying, but really, it's not really the way he's worked it all. And I think that's my issue with it. Is from looking into this, it's a very light article where he's saying yes, they have crunched. They crunched to make sure that the next teams are on a good playing field to move forward. So it's not necessarily crunch. It's you're also working hard to make sure that your colleagues aren't having to work hard or to catch up or pick up slack at the beginning, kind of thing. So there, we'll have one group of people crunching, so the next group of people are teed up properly. And as they get done, they might need to crunch a little bit. So it's basically saying they're trying to make sure all their colleagues or whatever. So I don't like the way that when we talk about crunch, it always has this inherent air of negativity around it. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it can be horrible. It can be stupidly negative. And if the stuff that came around from Rockstar's talks of crunch and stuff like that, a lot of that does seem like it's horrible. Just don't want to... I don't like seeing the industry know that this is something that people are passionate about. And people want to see proactive change in the social lives around gaming, and developers shouldn't be abused. And the games industry has come a long way, but by using that as clickbait, it's just not very nice. So yes, it could be horrible, but until we have all of that detail, not so much. Spot on, Graham. It's not what people slated. Boom. Yes.
I've just seen Connor's comment above as well. It said, "I've worked in 5 different jobs now, never not been paid for overtime. But obviously, when I do freelance work, it's different because it's on you. I don't like it when a boss takes on a project for a set fee and makes their staff work until. But if you're the freelance, your boss is the person who you're taking the contract for. If they're saying I need a deadline of this, you bet your ass you're going to be working your ass off to meet their deadline. They're technically your boss. You fair enough, you might be your boss of your own company, but you've taken their contract to fulfill and get it done in its entirety for a fee.
Yeah, usually, I don't think they're going to say. Usually, you'll make sure that your fee, as a freelancer and as someone that has freelanced, I would either have one of two mindsets. I'd go in with a fee that would account for all of my time. So I'm thinking, okay, there could be some overtime, so I've built that into my fee. Or
Yeah.
if it's earlier in a relationship, I might go in knowing that I'm going to put more hours than I usually would, but that's a sweetener, hoping that I get more work going forward, kind of thing. But yeah, build contingents into the contract, kind of thing. So yeah, no doubt there probably is some of that. So some of these guys are crunching. We don't know whether they are. I mean, obviously, finance is separate from health and mental well-being and mindfulness and all of that. So finance is separate, but they will, I imagine, be compensated for that within their contracts using those contingencies.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be on 16 grand a year. Do you? I think they're as game developers. Most times I do think that in game developers may recruit outside, especially for AAA titles. They'll like in my old company, for instance. I know this is like we're going way off topic, but in my old job, we had a team come in to help us. They had one guy. We hired one guy, and he said, "I want to bring my own team." He would bring his team with him because he knows that he's worked with them for like 10 years. Why would we want to get just the main guy and then 4 other people that he's never worked with before to come in and help him? He would bring his team, sort out what he needs to do to build our infrastructure, and then take his team and go into a next contract. I'm fairly certain in most industries like this, where it's AAA titles, they'll be made up of 7 or 8 different teams to be able to get the projects done. It's not just the same 50 people working on the same game all the time. Fair enough, if it's a series stuff, then yeah, you may get the same teams coming in working over and over again, but there will always be a team of people doing stuff.
The A team of people?
The A team.
You said there will always be a team of people, so I said the A team. Never mind. I work self-employed now, but I miss you all. The feeling is not mutual.
Don't worry, mate. You've been immortalised on the. You've been immortalised onto our Twitch.
Yeah, there will always be that clip saved there for posterity. It's fine. You will always be here. Sup, dude, says Dead to DMAC. Oh, one thing I didn't actually shout. Thank you very much for the host as well, ads. That was 33 minutes ago. I was going to get back onto that, but then never did. So thank you very much. Much appreciated. And everyone else that's dropping follows and hosts and stuff whilst we're on air. Much appreciated. It's fucking horrendous, says Connor. Yeah, that clip, if you do want to check back through the all-time clips on the channel, if you want to know what we're talking about when I do the dolphin laugh, wow, I just got some light in my eyes then. Yeah, if you want to know what I'm talking about when we do the dolphin laugh, then yeah, that's something that John did way back then. Anyway, for now, let's put this to bed. It's cool, the convo was flowing. Yeah, just wanted to get back to it. Thank you very much appreciated. We'll get there eventually. So let's move the convo forward. Let's flow it onto something else. We've spoken about crunch. We will speak about it again, no doubt, very soon. It's one of those topics that rightly or wrongly gets featured. Maybe sometimes it is rightful to touch on it in the negative ways that VG247 kind of did. Then sometimes it feels a bit clickbait, but yeah. Like I say, it's not always the case that people are being overworked and overslaved, but that's the way it is. Anyway, something a little bit lighter than are people slaving their lives away. Let's jump back into video games news, because that effectively is what we're here all about. And we have new trailer content to talk about, as we can see here, written by Tom Phillips for Eurogamer. The internet is getting very excited about this Godfall trailer. Update! Developer confirms footage as old. So we'll start off with the original story, and then we'll come back up to the update above it. Original story posted at 3:21 p.m. A trailer for Godfall, the upcoming PC and PlayStation 5 fantasy looter slasher, has popped up online and gotten people excited. If you recall, Godfall announced itself at the Game Awards 2019 as the world's first PlayStation 5 game, our first glance at next gen, whilst also being a game for your personal computer too. This first look sought to impress with a collection of shiny, chrome characters, particle effects, and backing from Borderlands publisher Gearbox, though it's being developed externally by Counterplay Games, the studio behind collectible card battler Duelist. Now, today's trailer has given us a better look at Counterplay's vision for the game. A few seconds were posted yesterday as a teaser on Reddit before the full trailer dumped this afternoon. But before we take a look, it's worth remembering a few things. First off, it's unclear where the footage originates from. Counterplay initially, sure, but the anonymous poster who released the video this week did not provide further details on how they came into possession of it. Is it a leak or marketing? We can't say for certain. The user, who has now deleted their account, claimed the footage was a trailer which was used internally, made in early 2019, specifically March 2019, making it nearly a year old. Internal trailers even are invariably used as a target for the final product to hit and not an indicator of how something will definitively look, especially so long before release. Godfall is set for launch in holiday 2020, so obviously they're drawing the comparison that something made in March 19 is a long way away from the end of the year 2020. It's also worth remembering Godfall is a PC as well as a PS5 game. I think they missed the word there. It's also remember that Godfall is a PC game as well as a PS5 game, and it's highly likely to be developed using the former. Not to mention, nearly a year ago, Counterplay will likely not have had final PS5 specs. With all that in mind, it's a snazzy looking trailer. Just don't expect it to be 100% representative of what all PlayStation 5 games will look like, or indeed what Godfall will look like when it releases later this year. Here it is, it says, and then has no trailer. So now,
to be fair, I did see like the 7 or 8 seconds that got posted on Twitter, and it still looks great.
I'm assuming because of the update, or because the account was deleted, or whatever, they may have had to take that embedded piece of content out of the article. But let's jump into the update before we wrap things up. Update. So this was posted around 4.5 hours after that. It says, following the internet's recent dissemination of leaked Godfall footage, the first officially revealed PlayStation 5 game, if the name doesn't ring a bell, developer Counterplay has piped up to confirm the authenticity of the video, but to also note that its contents, as the original leaker claimed, are definitely old. Hey everyone, it wrote in a message on Twitter, we can confirm that the circulating trailer is year-old PC footage used as part of an internal presentation. As such, it's probably unwise to take it as being wholly representative of the final game on PlayStation 5 and PC. Even so, it seems the developers be enjoying the recent hoo-ha. We are energized by your excitement and look forward to showing you just how far this game has come, it concluded. Stay tuned for a more detailed look soon. Interesting in that wording there. We can confirm that the circulating trailer is year-old PC footage as used as part of an internal presentation. That's fine. As such, it's probably unwise to take it as being wholly representative. That sounds very non-committal to me. It's probably unwise to take it as being wholly representative. So, is it unwise to take it as being, or is it probably, that's a double there. So, I always worry when I see stuff like that, because that's either fluffy PR that's there to essentially not commit to anything because they don't want to say anything that could get themselves in trouble, but it's so fluffy that they're almost kind of saying at the same time, do you know what, actually it potentially could be representative. All we're saying is probably unwise to see it as being wholly representative. It's definitely not representative of the final game. It's probably unwise to see it as being wholly representative. So it's like you're doubling down on your vaguity, if that's a word. So yeah, interesting. I mean, I'm going to click on the message on Twitter to see if there's anything.
Click on the Reddit one. I've just sent you the link in Slack, but yeah, click on that one. It should send you through to the post which I seen.
Oh, there we go. Let's load this back up on screen then. So it's
literally like 7 or 8 seconds.
The PS4 Reddit, posted by user deleted Godfall video combat footage, a fraction of the footage from an unreleased trailer I have. So play. Interesting. What I instantly get God of War vibes on that. Instantly.
Yep.
I know it's obviously a looter slasher, so you kind of would expect that, but yeah, instant God of War vibes.
I like the way that the combat looks. I like the way that the world looks. I like the way that the enemies look. I like the way that the weapons look. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely a game that I will 100% be picking up. We've got to take again.
I have to jump in. This is hugely important. Confirming that Bibby likes the way that a game looks. Shocking news. Bibby likes the way that almost every game looks.
I told you, I'll give any game a try once. You get one chance to impress me. Like people in real life, really. Well, yeah, this looks great, to be fair. Yeah, I don't know what more to say about it. It looks great. I mean, we have to take it with a pinch of salt because they're saying that it's a year-old build, basically aimed for the PC because they didn't know what the PlayStation 5 specs were going to be. Something that we touched on yesterday, I think, on the scoop, saying that most people at the time last year wouldn't have had the specs wouldn't have had the PS5 specs when they're developing the game, which is probably why most of the games this year have been delayed by so much. So they're going to have a chance to be able to tinker around with some of the resolutions and stuff. So yeah, I expect to see it looking slightly different than this, but not too much, because this definitely wouldn't have been a release game if they had to spend too much time on it.
Comment in the chat from Craig says, "Rise, Son of Rome looked nice." It did look nice.
To be fair, it looks amazing, that game.
See, all I know about Rise, Son of Rome is I know it was bad, but the worst thing about it for me is I don't know why, but I know unanimously that it was bad and that it just didn't really get any airtime, which tells you that it's bad. What made it so bad? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember now. But because I know it was so bad that everyone just stopped talking about it. It was just a tech demo, pretty much. Okay. Well, actually, let me just go on to another tangent as well, just because I've had this on in my tabs for a while. I saw it mentioned in the chat back. I think it was fan that asked, "What top am I wearing?" It's this. It's the Manchester United 50th anniversary jersey. There we go. Now I can get rid of the tab. I keep jumping back through to next news articles and seeing the Manchester United jersey there, going, "What? Oh yeah, that's what that's there for." Oh no, I've lost. No. I've closed the Godfall trailer article down because I actually linked through to.
It's alright. We are seriously running out of time anyway, so we're best off just moving on to the last article.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, so Godfall has a trailer. They've confirmed it's real, even though it is old. Baby, tell me about other trailers that you've watched that are old.
Okay, so other trailers I have watched are as follows. I don't know. I'm not going to go through.
I mean, if that's not a world-class request for padding, then I have no idea.
We could be here all day. But yeah, as Graham said, I'm currently wearing our Ice Cream Uploads esports jersey, which you can get for a very, very low price of £25. You can get trucker hats, you can get cups, you can get hoodies, you can get t-shirts.
We're good, it's okay.
What?
We're good now, it's okay.
All right, no worries.
So yeah, exclamation mark merch if you want to get that sexy jersey, by the way. The one that Bibby is absolutely 100% rubbing sexually for your enjoyment. He's not rubbing my nipples. But yes, into our final bit of news then, because we started late and we need to crack on today. I can't find it. There we go. Let's put a full screen so it's easy for you to see. Epic sends stern signal to Fortnite collusion cheats. New guidelines aim to curtail opposing players who work together. Written by Colin Campbell for Polygon. Very Ice Cream Uploads design colour scheme on this website today. GG, guys. I'm guessing Colin was hoping that he got featured on the scoop, and don't worry, Colin, we've got you. So, Epic Games has outlined plans to crack down on competitive Fortnite players who collude with opposing team members. Want to stop just 1 second? I literally spoke about this. Was it just yesterday about having the same happen?
That's why I've included it today.
So, in an update to its competitive integrity guidance document, Epic clarified its standing collision rule, which already prohibits opposing players from working together on mutually beneficial strategies that contravene the spirit of team-based gameplay. These include teaming up, pre-planning map location landing points, and intentionally dropping loot for one another. Its rules also include a prohibition against signalling to opposing players. In many online games, opposing players will often signal to one another in various situations. For example, when two players come across one another, one might crouch up and down to signal that they would rather not risk a fight. This might result in an unspoken agreement that the players prefer to stay alive and so wish to avoid a risky gunfight. Although the practice is largely unconventional in normal play, it's clearly a problem in tournament matches. Epic is addressing a situation in which competitive players have clearly developed signals for sending in-game messages. The new guidelines state that players must not communicate via pickaxe swinging, emoting, toy tossing, or jumping. According to Epic, punishments will include a teaming/collision penalty, which will merit appropriate action, and repeat offenders may be subject to increased penalties. In the past, Epic has banned players it found to be breaking the rules. Given that the specified movements are all common enough in Fortnite, it's clearly going to take a practiced eye to recognise the difference between goofing around and colluding with opposition players. Epic is turning to players for help. The update reads, "If you see something, say something." Wow, it's like being at a train station.
Yeah.
Remember, if you do have a competitive integrity issue that you'd like to report, please contact us through our player support team. They'll help to make sure that your inquiry will end up in the right place. Always on board with seeing stuff like that. Always on board. Anyone that plays a game and colludes, any form, it's in the same way that we were talking about the DDoS guys yesterday. Anything that goes out to further your own enjoyment or your own agenda at the expense of other people's enjoyments or other people's time or other people's money, whatever, it's just get out of here. It's 2020, man. If you're still colluding in Fortnite to get wins or progress or whatever, then I mean, yeah, I'm saying that as a casual player. I completely get the mindset around it is different from an esports element where that's like people cutting corners to be better at work, and to have a better chance of getting a promotion or a raise or a bonus or whatever. I get that, but if you're not good enough, then you shouldn't be in esports, mate. It's as simple as that. I mean, that's probably simplifying.
Avoiding people so that you try and get into like a final circle or stuff like that. I mean, when you scroll down to the bottom, there's some person that's in favour of it is like, yeah, well, you can join up with two and then have a slug it out at the end to find out who's the best. Nah, mate, it doesn't work like that. Obviously, you got the battle royale genre. All wrong if you think that, but it's very odd.
Let's jump in that comment. Fooch in the chat says, I'm more mixed on this in a tournament setting, but just in the live game, it seems like it's a silly thing to ban. The goal is to be the last man standing. If that means teaming up with someone you meet randomly, then having to duke it out at the end, so be it. They should go as far as adding dedicated emotes or signals to the game to explicitly allow for it. That's so much more interesting from a gameplay point of view. 100 independent players spontaneously forming posses, I'm assuming he means posses, to survive is a cool thing they should explore, not discourage. What? You
no
absolute...
idea.
Weapon fooch. I mean, that's not what it's about. And not only that, where do you stop with that? Because if you allow collusion, you are setting a precedent that cannot be maintained. Yes, you go in, make friends with someone, and then go to the end. What's to say that a team of 8 people aren't just going to be the posse? But if they go in knowing that they can make friends with other people, they will just take it in turns. Okay, Bibby, you can have the win this time because it's your turn. Yeah, I'm next in the kind of thing. And how can you stop or start that? There is no way that you have that in the game. Zero tolerance. Get rid of it completely. The point is to be the last man standing. Yes, I get that. The point isn't to go and make collusion and friendships to make sure you're the last man standing. It's battle royale. It's not like some sort of corporate business game where you've got to make strategic partnerships to ensure that you win. It's every man for themselves. That's what it is. More than last man standing. Every man for themselves. Not every couple of men until it gets to every man for themselves. Every man for themselves, mate. That's what it is. If you're teaming with people, then you shouldn't be playing Battle Royale because you're clearly not good enough to do it in the first place, mate. So it's dog eat dog. Exactly. Dog eat dog. Not dog has a bit of a mate until actually there's no more dogs to eat. Dog gets a bit hungry, so yeah, go on then. I'll have a bit more dog now, thanks. I bet the guy who wrote that is the crappiest player in a posse. Fooch goes under the name of @We've Got.
I'm the chief carrier. You know what I mean? My back's sore from all the carrying about rail.
That's the last time I played a squad game.
I'm not even going to try to hide that yawn. That was a fully fledged yawn.
I'm going to say he was going for that. The last time I played a squads game was in Fortnite, and it was in the office. Me, Luke, and Lewis, and a randomer. And all I'm saying is we went to Smoky Stacks. We left Smoky Stacks. I had 2 teammate revives and 4 kills. No one else on my team had any single kills. That's all I'm saying. Saying.
It's the beast.
But yes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That is the end of the scoop. We're going to have to close things off today because we have things to do, places to be, meetings to be in 3 minutes, plus Josie will be in the studio in 3 minutes too. Obviously, we started about an hour, or 40 something minutes late, so the best part of an hour. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us anyway. There's been a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people chatting, a lot of opinions, and we've had a good few hosts and followers too. Yeah. So thank you very much for everyone that has been involved with that. If you're still here now and you want to hit the follow button you haven't done already, please feel free to do so. Obviously, we will be posting links to all of the the podcasts and the vidcasts, so the Google, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, all of that stuff will be going out on social media later on. And you will have seen that we do little video snippets for you as well. So, yeah, you guys will get to see that. Although, Baby's going to one-man that one today because he's in the studio by himself. Unless we actually do that on this setup, I'm not sure. No, go on, Baby. You've got this. You've got this. However, that is the end of the stream. Obviously, feel free to drop by for Josie's stream. She'll be playing Death Stranding in 2 minutes now. We will be back with more Scoopalicious content at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Anything you want to add from your side, Bibarino?
You know the usual thing. You see something, you tag us, we feature it the next day. Simple as that.
Absolutely. We've got Babino on Twitter, at Graham_Day on Twitter, and at Ice Cream Uploads across all social medias. And that lovely human being that is Number One Pirate has just dropped exclamation mark socials in the chat to give you all of the social links. You don't even need to type in Ice Cream Uploads, just hit those links. And that's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. Have yourselves a very lovely day. Death Stranding in 2 minutes, more Scoop, 10 a.m. tomorrow. Until then, have yourselves a lovely day. Stay